Given the luck, comfort, and privilege of the life I've led for my first 24 years here on Earth, especially in comparison to the vast majority of humans throughout all of history, it would be no surprise to anybody that when plopped in another place in time, I'd be wishing for the luxuries of modernity nearly immediately. But I think there has to be a spot in recent history where we had a healthier, more optimistic relationship with our technological counterparts, and I promise you this isn't just some fucking love letter to the 90s. I think an inalienable part of our modern Western culture is to desire the things we don't have and to stack up our life against the lifestyles of others, especially when in a nearly constant state of overexposure to products, people, places, experiences, etc. But at the same time, that desire is constantly at odds with our instinctive fear of change and the fear of being disconnected or outcasted from the social zeitgeist. And I think this spot that you can get caught in from the clashing of these two opposing viewpoints can paralyze a lot of us and kind of help us just coast. And with the way technology and consumerism is optimizing our world and homes around us, it's becoming so much easier to just coast. And if we all just continue to coast and let reptiles like Beth Bezos and Elon Musk dictate our trajectory, according to my string theory calculations, there's only one singular outcome for that kind of future, and we'd all better hope that we have a benevolent little Roomba on our side, chasing after some oily robo-bussy, or we're fucked. Fuck. Sorry. Fuck, where was I? I don't even remember. But before we move on anyway, I kind of just wanted to take a page out of the Video Essayist Handbook and, over-explain my position early on so as to justify my reasoning for feeling so strongly about some amorphous concern, in hopes that said justification will frame this video in a more collective, positive, dialogic light, rather than the selfish, brooding groan I fear it might come off as. So, with all that said, he probably wasn't going anywhere important with that. Anyway, I was bored, hello. The optimization of our world has been positively pissing upon my parade for years. In May of 1997, just 6 months before New Jersey doctors had to surgically break the shoulders of a fat-ass baby too big to make his grand entrance into the world, a supercomputer the size of a dresser named Deep Blue, 12 years and $100 million in the making, finally beat a grandmaster at chess. Nearly 24 years later, and I'm still a big fat baby, and I can't play a game of online chess without the thought in the back of my head that my opponent might just have another tab in Google Chrome open running a cloud-based deep learning algorithm so intelligent it could teach our old friend Deep Blue sentience and make it live up to its name because of its own fucking obsolescence. Math and science don't just ruin fake sports though, they ruin real sports too. Just take a look at this graph that shows you all of the three-pointers attempted over the last 20 years in the NBA. And you can see, as soon as data and algorithms helped coaches figure out the impossible metric that 3 is actually more than 2, BAM! The three-pointer exploded into relevancy. Fast forward to today, and we actually have coaches that forbid their players from shooting from the mid-range because it isn't a worthwhile shot attempt in comparison to the three-pointer or a shot from the paint. Now, while that may be true, and that truth may have helped raise the efficiency of shot attempts across the league, I don't really give a shit. Watching every close game come down to a near unguardable shootout kinda sucks fucking cock. Algorithms aren't just infiltrating sports though. They have a hand in what we listen to on the way to work, what we watch when we get home, what we order for dinner, who we're gonna go out with on a date, and what movies are gonna be available to see, where we're gonna go on vacation this year, how we're gonna get there, our access to truthful information, hell, they're even deciding whether we deserve jobs or not anymore. And none of it serves to improve your life. All it serves to do is strip your money from you. So I lost my grandpa a few months ago. I've been lucky in my life not to have lost many people close to me. And I was even luckier to get to go stay with him a few weeks before he passed. Whether it be a maw of a lion, the quake of the earth, the edge of a blade, a tumble down a hill, or a peanut butter banana sandwich in a toilet seat, death is coming for us all. For some in funnier ways than others. But it's the things we do in spite of that, and the people we love, and the things we create that kind of make it fucking awesome. Life's nothing more than an arrogant, spiteful, futile middle finger straight to the fucking inevitable end. My grandpa made music his entire life. It was with him through anything that you can go through. It was there, and he was doing it. And he never saw anything from it. No girls, no money, no opportunities, no little shows, big shows. Not even a glimpse of any of that. But at the end of his life, with a few days left with me and a few weeks left on the fucking earth, it's the only thing he wanted to do. And he barely had the strength to do it. Just to perceive what he could do in such a short amount of time with a bass, a guitar, a keyboard / synth, a drum machine, and a 40-year-old 8-track was unimaginable. It's like coming home and walking up to Harry Potter doing fucking wizard flips on your front lawn. It reminds me of one of those videos where you just see some really eccentric out there dude, probably on some drugs, just in New York, giving a dissertation to a pigeon. Not even a pigeon, birds are pretty smart. Fucking a turtle. Sorry, turtle people out there, but a turtle that just got a turtle lobotomy, a tatotomy. And my grandpa was John Lennon on crack. It was an immeasurably significant experience in my life that I'll always be grateful for, even if I fucking don't know how to hang a C# suspended from my fucking balls. Music people get that one. Anyways, fuck all that shit. Did you guys see on fucking Twitch last night, a moral fucking loser TV was playing slots and won $7 trillion on thisisprobablyrigged.io? I mean, I'm thinking about throwing my whole life savings into it. I don't know. YouTube is a fucking beautiful space. It's motivated me to do shit like this in my life that I never would have done, and helped me meet people to make that possible, like Andrew, and helped me discover a part of myself I never ever knew was there or would have known was there, that has since taken over my entire being, my entire character. It's all I care about, and it's given so many opportunities to what would have been once in a lifetime artists, educators, and entertainers that, you know, would have had no one to share themselves with, except maybe their inept grandsons at the end of their life, had it not been for YouTube. But holy fucking shit, the algorithm is slowly but surely learning, and has been for a long time, learning to literally only promote some of the worst fucking people to ever have an audience. Family channels that promote family values, that then turn around and cheat on their wives regularly, and apparently tag team young women with their weird ass fucking dads, and scam their fans who are children through children charities. A gaming clan run by a bunch of weird fucking loser middle-aged dudes starting clout houses for teenagers, and also, you know, scamming their kid fan base through the guise of a children's charity cryptocurrency pump and dump scheme. These people are coming up here to look upon God's glory, and I'm yelling about FaZe Clan. This is probably gonna rub some people the wrong way, but I think you guys know my character. I'm a mountain man now. I don't think it, you know, I don't got enough air up here. No talent bimbos who built their fan base off the back of a vlog channel for preteens, starting monthly subscription softcore porn accounts, and also like confidently and proudly doing cryptocurrency pump and dump schemes on their fan base, while also being a multi-millionaire already and living in like mansions in the Hollywood Hills. Dozens of Twitch streamers taking millions of dollars and defending themselves while doing it to promote one of the most destructive vices known to mankind to literal children, and even, you know, adults in their audience, where it is illegal for them to do what they're being advertised to in the country they live in by people who also live in that country, who have to contractually fly to Mexico, where it is legal to do what they're doing, do it, and then come back. And also they're getting funded by literally like fucking one-stop illegal gambling organizations, which are impossible to trace in foreign fucking countries in Eastern Europe. Bro, what happened to Fred? What happened to pitching your voice up and fucking around with John Cena? I think I just heard like a fucking penguin or something. Do penguins be climbing mountains? Look, at a certain point, we need to look past the people doing it because they have absolutely no moral compass and are proud of what they're doing, because I guess our culture just encourages making money any way you can off of anybody you can. So we need to start looking at the platforms that enable them and actively promote what they're doing, and also are entirely culpable because they make a shit ton of money while they're doing this stuff on their platforms. So let's take a look at those platforms. Oh, that peak is Twitch HQ and that peak is YouTube HQ. You guys can't see that, but trust me, there be mountains there. Wow, there looks to be something very similar about them. It's who they're run by. And by that I mean they're run by an unstoppable algorithm that's moved beyond the creators of its comprehension, which literally doesn't see any, morality or ethics in anything it isn't taught to. It doesn't know black and white. All it knows is profit motive and viewer retention. Data, algorithms, and the commodification that follows those two things are ruining everything we love. And I know that sounds kind of dramatic, but I also don't think it is, and if it is, I'm a dramatic little slut. Seeing every popular video on YouTube and TikTok that hits trending and everyone's talking about all the time, and they're, the popular creators, being founded in either drama or like weird wealth flexing on the people who gave those people the opportunity to have wealth is so fucking disheartening. And not because I'm popping off or they're popping off and I'm not, because I'm fucking not. Okay, that might be part of the reason, but also because they're literally overloading evolutionary sensors in our brain that are there for other tasks other than like constant fucking consumption, and that's why they're so popular. And I'm not saying these people fucking know that. These people are all idiots, but that is exactly what it's doing. And I know that sounds like some coochie candle holistic healing bullshit, especially from fucking James of the Mountain, but give me a little chance to explain it to you, because I think you might like the smell of coochie. For tens of thousands of years, I feel like Tom Scott or fucking David Attenborough saying that up here. For tens of thousands of years, we've evolved to value community, encourage community, because it's literally the key to our species' survival and also our planetary dominance. In short, ape together strong. Our obsession with rich people and all the things they have and all the things they do is totally a cultural phenomenon, right? Capitalism, bootstraps, stocks, all that shit. But it's also a societal thing. It's something that we've learned because our brains can't ignore our place in our community and the people above us, the people that, we want to strive to be for one reason or another, and the things that they might have to teach us, or the things that we can take from what they're doing, or at least, if we aren't there, getting a taste of what it's like to be them, whether that be for better or worse. It's for worse. And drama, in a broader sense, is the foundation of all of that thinking. There's so much research done to back up the idea that gossip and the flow of information amongst a group about the people that are a part of that group being one of the, if not the main distinction between us and literally every other species that has ever lived. But these things are not what the average viewer is looking to constantly consume, whether it be to have fun, to be entertained, to wind down, to escape. I don't think that's really what anybody is, trying to get out of their YouTube experience every single day. And my 5+ years of experience making stuff on the platform and everything I've learned in that time outwardly rejects that idea. But just like flowing thousands of tons of drugs into a country is eventually going to decimate a population of people, the algorithm has figured out that even if this isn't what people want to consume, eventually, if put in front of them enough, they will not be able to resist but to consume it, and it'll be the hardest thing for them to stop consuming over time. And also, both of those examples generate a shit ton of money for a small group of fucking scumbags. And the compounded success of content like that for years on end now on the platform has taken away from people like my grandpa, who just can't stop making things, who just have a passion for it, because art is fucking sick. And all it's done is replace people like him with a bunch of kids who have never been exposed to or taught anything else than what an algorithm deems profitable and addictive enough to be featured on their platform. A platform that actively subverts all of that at the same time by still going with this idea that it's a place for free and individual expression. This wasn't entertainment 20 years ago. It just wasn't. I mean, I guess you could make the argument for daytime TV and reality TV, but that stuff wasn't being algorithmically pumped through an entire generation of people essentially against their will, with an inescapable zeitgeist trending on every platform, on every feed, in your face wherever you go. With the advent of the internet, it seemed like we were about to enter a golden age of art. Amateur dicks, boobs, movies, games, music as far as the eye can see, but instead, this is what we got. Algorithms beyond anybody's comprehension telling us what to watch, read, and listen to based on what we've already watched, read, and listened to. I mean, I might as well turn my hippocampus in, chop my fucking dick off, and use it to moisturize my eye holes while I endlessly consume Mr. Crone's Nightmare and CXQ. When I made my way out to Tampa for my grandpa's funeral, I felt myself inadvertently curling inward, which isn't at all normal for me. If you've watched some of my videos or you've seen me on my podcast, you know that I kind of will say and do just about anything to entertain the people around me or any kind of audience that I have, because that's what I love to do. And also, I enjoy having their attention and company because it keeps me from being alone, which I'm terrified of. Accidentally nutting on my boy's shoes, vegetable sodomy, pulling out my giant ass, whipping out my tiny nuts. When it comes to me, bars don't end up being held very often. But something about trying to work through my feelings while being surrounded by people who know me as that carefree idiot court jester just shut me down in a weird way that I haven't experienced since and never had before. For some reason though, there was this fucking landmark of copium that kind of gave me in a logical amount of comfort through that weekend, and it was this little fucking rinky-dink arcade called Stop and Play. Now I'm assuming that you're all assuming that, you know, you're gonna hear me talk about all the games that brought me back to a better place in my childhood, or the connection that me and my grandpa had to this local arcade spot, or, you know, that I used it as a place to isolate and cope that weekend. And you'd be right for assuming that if you hadn't forgotten about one of the core truths of this channel, one of the tenets of this channel, and that's that I kind of have the mind of like a baby monkey with brain damage. I actually kind of just got all of this joy, and it was an immense amount of joy. It coddled me. I got all of that from literally just driving up and down past the place the whole weekend because it was on the road that led to my Nana's house and the funeral home and the hotel. Something about the retro, colorful, jagged aesthetic of this sign, just juxtaposed to the corporatized concrete jungle surrounding it, just cradled my brain in nostalgia and hope. And I feel like that was kind of the point of design before like 2010-ish. Like, what the fuck happened to black, blue, green, pink, and purple? Is Logan Paul just like the lead designer on every corporate branding team? Because if so, we just gotta get him those fucking colorblind goggles and we can stop letting the world look like a McDonald's cum tribute. Look at this foul image. Everything is fucking red, yellow, white with a splash of this distinctly flat and depressing free market blue. What fucking masochistic, brutalist alien species decided this is what we deserved? I mean, I would understand the giant mega death laser, and maybe I would understand some flesh-eating brain parasites, and you know, I wouldn't even mind some mega mind Martians coming down from Mars and they blow up Congress. That would all be good and dandy. But why did they choose our downfall to be corporate branding so uniform and overstimulatingly depressing that we all just lose our love for life and dwindle away? Well, if I'm being honest, I genuinely do wish it was some kind of alien overlord just playing a trick on us, because it would explain all of the terrible things that make no sense going on in this country and around the world, but it's not. Sadly, the dejecting homogeny of modern Main Street USA is thanks to two things. Firstly, goddamn motherfucking shit-eating, soul-sucking analytics, and B, incestual corporate oligarchies that basically run everything in society at this point and are pricing out individual businesses at a dystopian rate. And I think this has become more clear than ever to me after being up here in Alaska for the last few weeks. Everything up here is either a wonderfully unique independent business that really helps you feel the exaggerated swagger of a worthwhile patron, or an incredibly antiquated corporate design from about 30 years ago that no one has cared to update. And it's fucking beautiful. I feel like the last 2 weeks have just been me guzzling down a Kardashian-backed detox shake, except without the Hershey squirts that usually follow. I feel like I've stepped out of time being up here. I mean, life and consumption feels so much more genuine and effective at actually enriching and stimulating the community that you're a part of, and you see that directly reflected in the atmospheres of the businesses around you. It feels like all the effort, money, and talent that went into businesses, corporate or not, 30 years ago to genuinely, you know, make an impact with their branding and stand out and be unique, and I don't know, like affect their customers and make a good atmosphere. All of that has been taken away because data tells us that red, yellow, and white affect the brain in such a way that the dick gets hard and the poo-poo come out of the butthole and then you're ready to spend money. And instead, all of that effort has now just been put into a small team of fucking nerds clapping back at people on Twitter, and that's how they create a culture, I guess. It's been so cool to just be in a place where the airport still has sunken neon edge lighting, and the subway still has like the kind of 80s glass block wall and the neon backlit S on the wall. It's just like so sick, and it's so much more fun than just like brown brick and mortar buildings with just like a touch of color. Honestly, one of life's greatest mysteries is trying to figure out who came up with the idea to just like move past neon. Like, who looked at the 80s and 90s and said, yes, our interior design really needs to be amped up. We really need to up the ante. Let's harden all the edges and desaturate everything. Like, no, neon was the answer. That was the end of the book. That was the peak. We should have just rode that wave to whatever finish line we're heading for. And, you know, sometime in the future when I'm in a Zoomies and the sea levels finally consume the mall and I'm drowning to death, at least I have some cool ambient underwater neon lighting to keep the vibes steady. Also, what the fuck? Bring back purple and green ketchup. How have we as a society just, you know, ignored this catastrophe for nearly 20 years? It's a simple concept. Tomato red, which mean ketchup gonna be red, unless we make it purple. And then when you have French fries and you remember that your ketchup is purple and you squirt it on your plate and you're dipping your fries in purple sauce that's supposed to be red, your reality tears at its seams and you remember the innocence and beauty that the world can provide. And, you know, also, I want it back. Please. I want to regress. Give me colorful ketchup, please. Oh, fucking. Oh. Well, when I said regress, I was thinking more like 2nd or 3rd grade, maybe. Middle school could have worked too. But I guess since we're back here, let's just keep going with the video. Where was I? I guess we could talk about the impact that data, algorithms, and corporatism has had on an industry that is at the very core of this channel and basically inseparable from every part of my life. Video games. Skill-based matchmaking, a term that should make any gamer's thumbs retract into their fucking knuckles like little shivering chodes. Skill-based matchmaking is one of those terms where when the uninitiated hear it, it sounds like not only the right answer to the problem, but the only one. Until you experience it firsthand, learn about the alternatives to it, and figure out that the people who implemented it want to retain it so badly even against widespread opposition, causing you to kind of awaken to the hindrance that it is on your life and your experience, and just how deep that hindrance goes. Sort of like trying to live a happy, ethical life under capitalism. Skill-based matchmaking, or what I will now refer to it as a SBMM, so my tongue doesn't have a fucking stroke, is a matchmaking system where a player's skill, which is measured by an assortment of aggregated data which is then pumped through an algorithm, is the most important factor in matching them up against an opponent. Now, player skill has always had some kind of hand in defining competitive game lobbies, as much as, you know, certain Call of Duty fans don't want you to believe that. But it wasn't always the dominating factor. In the past, it was as simple as location and connection strength. Now again, that might sound stupid. Why advocate for games to be organized by a location and not on player performance? You know, base competition on individual skill alone, like a job market or organized sports. Well, for one, SBMM is not becoming the norm because of player experience, feedback, or enjoyment. No, it's becoming the norm because of player retention, which is, you know, similar to how YouTube decides what content is worthwhile. If this was about player experience, games would have a ranked mode defined entirely by SBMM and a hierarchy based purely on skill, and they would have casual modes completely and utterly uninhibited by any trace of SBMM. And before you say it, games with casual and ranked modes usually still implement SBMM systems in their casual modes. Want to know why? Well, Fortnite and COD have both released data that suggests their modern SBMM systems are entirely designed around constantly onboarding new players, keeping them incubated in their little baby shit lobbies just long enough to get them hooked, and, more important than that, extending the average duration of play sessions, with the obvious incentive being, say it with me, maximizing profits. Very good. And addiction. But I also don't think that video games should be entirely organized based on skill because of this crazy fucking concept called fun. Why the fuck should my hobby be meritocratic? Why does there have to be perfectly balanced competition where the best are promoted and the worst are demoted until we reach fucking gamer equilibrium? Why are we treating motherfucking sex-repelling, cock-shortening video games like some kind of playoff bracket? This is what I do for fun. This is what I do to unwind. This is what I do to hang out with friends. I don't want to try hard all the time. I don't want every loss to feel utterly and completely deserved. And I really don't want every play session to get progressively harder and leave me with a sour taste in my mouth by the time I smash my controller and call it a night. I want games to feel sporadic again. I want glitches and exploits and bugs. I want mismatches, whether they benefit me or not. I want voice chat to be hilariously toxic again and not uber fucking competitive. And I want to lose because I'm ass, not because an algorithm found someone who's statistically less ass than me. And I want to be able to get my fucking shit pushed in, but then the very next game absolutely fucking PWN some MFing NOOBs. That's so close to boobs. John Cena, what do you think of that?
Boobies.
Thank you. I don't know, I guess all that to say, I think gamers had a really good thing going for a really long time. We were kind of the new frontier of media, entertainment. And I count myself lucky to have been around on the Wild West days of Xbox Live. It genuinely and literally shaped me into the thing I am today, and I don't regret a second of it. And I feel like I see that culture being taken away, just slowly and sneakily enough to the point where no one's really noticing it, and you won't know what you're missing until it's gone. Late on the evening of November 9th, 2009 in Linden, New Jersey, a huge line of gamers stretches around a small strip mall, slowly but surely shuffling toward the entrance of a GameStop open just a bit later than usual. This GameStop happens to be preparing for the midnight release of one of the most anticipated games ever. A riced out Civic with a shitty stereo system and some subwoofers stowed in the trunk is blasting Kiss Me Through the Phone while the GameStop employees don their promotional army fatigues. And a young boy out far past his bedtime for a Monday night stands patiently waiting in line with his mom, hoping that the things that the older kids on Xbox Live said to him about her weren't true, or this was going to be a really awkward night. And there the young boy would stand, engrossed in the culture of his people, making lifelong memories, waiting to be the first of his friends to get his hands on what would be remembered as a pillar of online FPS gaming: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. November 12th, 2020, the clock strikes midnight and your pre-install of Call of Duty Black Ops 27 Cold War 2 just finished. Sadly, there's a huge Day Zero patch that wasn't included with the original install for some reason, so you're not playing tonight, you gotta download that. You head to bed disappointed and anxious because the Twitter trend around the game isn't looking too positive, and who knows if it'll even make it through the night. But that's alright. You'll forget about this within the month, and the gaming community at large will move on from this game without even scratching the surface, letting it die out into some pitiful, pittering pile of pestilent disappointment. The trend from physical to digital was obvious for nearly 2 decades. Just like my obesity, it was inevitable, especially in an industry so tightly intertwined with tech and the internet. But also like my obesity, that doesn't mean I can't bitch and moan about it for a few minutes until I'm out of breath and need a break. There's the obvious benefits of physical gaming, right? Like not having your games tied to accounts, software iterations, or cloud servers. Not having to install every game you play. Although that started changing even amongst physical games like 6 or 7 years ago, which I totally still believe is a conspiracy to sell more fucking hard drives. But anyway, being able to buy, sell, and trade used games, being able to bring a game to a friend's house, being able to fuck the hole in the middle of the disc, and of course, being able to live up to the gamer prophecy of buying a shitty black particle board cabinet from IKEA so you can display your collection proudly. But there are also the less obvious benefits of owning physical games, like actually owning your game and not just a key to access access it digitally, which can be revoked without refund from the distributor at any time. Also, the giant industry that depends on physical games to keep it running and to be able to employ a shit ton of people that produce everything that make a physical game possible, from the cellophane wrap on the outside of the case to the fuckable hole in the middle of the disc. The fact that somehow physical games are usually much cheaper than digital games, especially post-launch cycle, and that has nothing to do with the fact that physical retailers are desperate. Digital storefronts, specifically ones that operate on a closed market, like a PlayStation Network or Xbox Marketplace, essentially function as monopoly with no incentive or tangible reason to lower their prices at any point and take full fucking advantage of their perceived convenience factor. And finally, since we're now buying the games from the same conglomerates that are producing them and usually also making and selling the consoles they run on, we're handing the profits of making and selling video games at every step of the process to a very small handful of corporations, and at the same time lowering their distribution costs. And if you know anything about business and you don't have the residue of a rich person's Tim's on your tongue, you know how fucking horrible that is for workers, consumers, independent artists, and future startups. Alright, I went a little hard there, kind of forgot about the comedy thing. So I have one more example of why physical is better than digital that I want to round this segment out on a lighthearted note with. Physical is better than digital because stuff can break and just do stupid, wonky, dumb shit, and it's funny. Like, I had this copy of Black Ops 1 in middle school that just got fucked one day. No idea why. Kind of an idea why. Probably an idea why. It's because this is how I stored my games in middle school. But you know what? Shut the fuck up. That's not what this is about. I already hear you screaming and it's hurting my ears. The point is, somewhere, somehow, it got fucked and I didn't know. But I probably should have. And me and my friends went to go play some Kino der Toten, the best base game zombies map ever. So I booted it up, it was running a little weird, we loaded up Kino der Toten, and then just everything in the game was chrome. Everything was mirrored and shiny except light sources, and honestly, it was sick as fuck. Even though it was just like a glitch, or the result of me being a fat troglodyte, you decide. It was cool. It was funny. It was awesome. It was an unforgettable night for my friends because of that. And also, I felt like I was on some Coupe de Ville chrome steel gangsta shit.
Alright, here's the last thing we have to show you. This is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
I've probably played about 2 hours of Zelda in my entire life, but still, that Twilight Princess reveal had my skin feeling like when the fucking tinfoil falls off the CRTV dish. Meanwhile, the huge Breath of the Wild 2 announcement kinda just fell on flat ears and left me feeling a little sad. And kinda angry. Stupid people in chat just saying things. I just wanna watch video game fans be happy, but no. PlayStation nerds have to tell me that Zelda is a whore. And I know, that's only one example from one franchise from two very different events. And I'm sure that I could fucking find more of them if I wanted to, but I don't think that I need to get this point across to the real gamers, because don't you just feel it? Just a lack of enthusiasm or capacity to be excited about anything the way that we used to about media. And don't just tell me it's fucking nostalgia or little kid brain. Those people freaking the fuck out right there are full-fledged adults. I mean, you know, they probably dress themselves on a semi-regular basis and work hard enough to afford a pretty expensive hobby like buying a fucking Bimbembo game pube. I mean, I'll give you an even better example. Tell me the last time you've seen a video game announcement get a group of people so fucking excited that it cured a man of his physical disability.
3, 2, 1, 0.
And yeah, Dylan, E3 is fucking cringe. Totally agree with you, dude. You can shut up now. But isn't that half the magic? Why do we want to get rid of everything that is cringe? Especially because the reward for sitting through that cringe...
Lead you. Watch. Please, don't disappoint him. He doesn't like that.
But are you ready for the future?
Introducing Sega Saturn. Aww, hit it. Sega's next generation gaming platform
is some of the best gaming moments in history.
$2.99.
To me, I think of it like E3 has the same magic that the Olympics or the World Cup has. And I hope by at this point in the video you can kind of feel that I'm not the kind of person that's about to make an argument that playing competitive Overwatch is the same as playing soccer on a world scale. No, what I mean is I don't even understand soccer. I don't know if you kick the little white houses on the ball or the little black houses on the ball. No fucking idea, but I do know that every 4 years when the World Cup happens, I watch the shit out of it and pick some random arbitrary fucking country to root for to the fucking death. Because it's fucking culturally significant, and it's really fucking epic to know that all the emotions I'm feeling right now, millions of people around the world are feeling at the exact same time. And even if that feeling that everyone's feeling together is cringe, it makes me so sad knowing that my kids won't get to watch cringe at the level of Jesse Wellens trying to promote a video game and regressing back to infancy live with no one to save him. Or Usher dancing his heart out with half the women present in the entire event arena, while gamers watch on in horror, knowing that for this to be happening, Microsoft just dumped more money into another fucking Dance Central game. I'm totally cool with calling a spade a spade. E3 is failing. E3 is not what it used to be, and part of that is due to E3 itself, not just the world and the community changing around it. But digital will never be able to produce these same moments, these moments that we remember for years on, whether they be cringe or epic. There was, is, and always will be beauty in the cringe, beauty in the failure, beauty in the unexpected. And it's a small price to pay for some of the most wonderful moments that I don't think we're gonna get anymore. I wanted to talk way more about the things I think that are plaguing our gamer culture at the moment, like the market being spread way too thin, not nearly enough new and impactful multiplayer franchises entering the market, which is shrinking and tribalizing the culture, which is also the reason we have less and less of these special moments at the events we were talking about, because you have to be able to connect to a game when it's being announced to go fucking nuts for it. Because obviously none of us have any emotional connection to it, because it's not like a long-standing thing that we've been growing up with or looking forward to. The magic, the fucking magic of discovering Easter eggs and cheats by word of mouth, or literally just on your own, instead of it immediately being spoiled by some YouTuber. Stadia being the first of probably many gaming marketplaces to incentivize engagement over purchases. Game Pass being too good to be true in the long run. And all of that's like more important, but this is the most infuriating one. The fact that little kids, and more importantly, me, can't buy like new graphics cards or RAM or consoles or gamer equipment in general for a fair price, and can only trade our livers on the black market in return for a fucking Xbox Series X. But this video is already too long and I've got more to get to, so back to the bedroom you go. The internet used to be a flea market. Around one corner was a grandma just trying to sell you some crochets, and around the next was a toothless dude willing to lease out his butthole for cheap, and everything in between. And now, Now it's a mall. And malls were really cool when they came about, right? They're awesome. They're a staple of consumer 80s America. Neon light, foods, games, and clothes as far as the eye can see, all in a safe and curated environment. And slowly but surely, that mall put every local competitor out of business and consolidated your entire consumer market into one dingy, sketchy shithole that hadn't been updated since its inception. Every corner of the place sold to the highest bidder, even the walkways blocked by kiosks where weird Eastern European men try to sell you custom keychains and Zippos. The initial magic and wonder of the mall, gone. Because it doesn't need to be upkept anymore to keep you there, because it put out of business any competitor that you could have went to. And now it's a honeypot, and you're the fly stuck in it, having to consume until you die, because that's all that's left to do. But while the internet and malls have that in common, the big difference is that the internet has nearly sentient algorithms and incredible amounts of data on its side to accomplish this way faster than the mall ever could. And two, the interests of the internet almost always run directly counter to the interests of a functioning, amicable society. Every service masquerading as convenience is really just in the business of exploiting the isolative tendencies of stressed and depressed apes. And while we have you here isolated at home, enjoying your comfort and convenience, let's destroy your social skills and cognitive function by serving you constant barrages of lies, deceit, and doom, because here at Meta, our algorithms have told us that negative content is 5 to 7 times more likely to keep you engaged longer on our website than positive content is. Which lets us serve you more ads, which lets us make more money, simultaneously dividing and tribalizing society even more, which just perpetuates the success of our hate-fueled algorithms. Big win for the engineers back home. And I think that's the scariest part. Wasn't the internet supposed to make knowledge and theory so freely available that it just catapulted society at a rate previously unimaginable? But instead, all we got were grifters and algorithms that figured out how to exploit our stupid fucking angry little monkey brains for profit. The room for genuine debate, concern, and substantial long-form detailed explanation is being destroyed because any out-of-context soundbite, any facial twitch, any misspeaking of words is immediately clipped and used by reactionary grifters to exploit the fear and sadness that we all feel. Especially a huge chunk of the population that are undereducated and angry because they're losing equity at a rate that would have anyone susceptible to propaganda and fear-mongering. And to think that only a little over 50 years ago we lived in a society where the whole world stopped what they were doing and watched the first man put the first footprint on the moon. The community, the camaraderie, the humanity in that. Fuck America, fuck the Cold War, fuck all of that bullshit noise. That was a moment for our species, for our entire fucking planet. Really imagine how that had felt if you were watching it as it happened, because no one I know alive right now that was alive then has ever forgotten that moment, that feeling, or where they were when it happened. And what about today? Can you imagine what the reception to that would be? I mean, first off, some worthless fucking troglodyte from Nelk or FaZe would be hanging off the side of the rocket trying to promote their new crypto scam. Someone else would probably hack the rocket and redirect its trajectory at an elementary school. Some corporation would probably pay a world-changing amount of money to NASA just to do some sponsored skywriting as the rocket made its ascent. And if after all that, the rocket still made it out of the atmosphere, into space, to the moon, someone got out and stepped on it, Facebook would still convince about 400 million people that it was fake because the astronaut that got out and did it was a girl, and the booby milk in her breasts would have exploded in space because women are the subservient gender. What was the point of all this? What have we gained from the internet as it exists now? Is your convenience that you're enjoying right now genuinely made your life any better than someone who was alive, I don't know, 25 years ago? Because I'd argue that it's genuinely made it worse. There is absolutely an argument to be made for the impact that the internet has had on reinvigorating and empowering the ongoing fights for social justice, civil rights, socioeconomic restructuring, etc. And I'm morbidly aware of the fact that most of the idyllic and nostalgic things that I've alluded to and talked about in this video, and some of the things that I want back, are only true of a past that was set up entirely to favor and work for someone like me. But the internet has done nearly as much to tear at the seams of truth and fact and give incredible amounts of power and credence to huge lies, to conspiracy, to cults, to murderers, to hate in every sense of the form, and people who will exploit that hate just for profit with absolutely no remorse and no moral or ethical backbone. And on a lighter note, I don't even know if the idea of having every piece of knowledge at our fingertips at all times is a positive thing anyway. We're apes that are meant to shit in streams, eat fruit, and fuck. I think it's amazing that we can have the answer to literally anything at our fingertips like that. But I also think there's something lost there. And I know that that argument might be reductive, and I might sound like a cynist and a boomer, but at the very least, I know that I sound like that, and I'm still saying it because I genuinely believe there's truth to it, and I'm not just mad that my kids, I don't know, what are boomers mad about? That they have all the money and we have none? And if you don't agree, that's fine. But I think I have the perfect example of the old world that will sway you to my side. This scene from Kitchen Nightmares that you're about to watch is from 2008, but specifically it was right before smartphones really blew onto the market and took it over, and we basically had all-knowing computers in our pockets, and I just want you to watch this.
Sicilian name for Parmesan, is that what we're writing?
Yep.
C-E-C-S-A-N.
Sicilian what?
That's right.
That isn't even how you spell Sicilian.
Does anybody know how to spell it? Or it might be Sicilian.
Sicilian's from Sicily.
Really?
Because S-I-C-I-L-Y, I don't think there'd be a Y.
No, it's I-L-I-N.
Sicilian.
There we go.
Thank God you guys saw that.
A 60-year-old, family-owned, locally revered Italian restaurant that was preparing to be on international television was about to write Sicilian as Kikilian for the entire world to see, with like 5 people trying to figure it out at once. Trust me, I am aware of how irrelevant and painfully stupid this is, but I'm irrelevant and painfully stupid. And that wouldn't happen today because you just go to Google and you put in those words with all them vowels in it that are usually pretty hard. You don't know where the vowels are going. You put that in Google and it tries to transcribe what can only be described as the manic scrawlings of a toddler into an actual word. But I think the world needs more Kikilian. Imperfection is epic, it's beautiful, and more importantly than anything, it is funny. And I wish stupid fake Italians were left to their own wits more often, because if we truly do live in a society, I wish it was one that let people spell Kikilian just a little more. In the end, I feel like I was just a little bit cheated out of a more thorough life, a more vivid life, a more social life, when our towns were still populated by local businesses. When instead of the local bar looking like this, it looked like this.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine.
Something German, but we brought our own glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, you can have it.
All right, I can have it.
When pop culture was still so thoroughly ingrained in day-to-day life that Vegas ran odds on who shot Mr. Burns. When LAN parties were physically feasible. A time where we all collectively expected less and imagined more of media, which made it so much more special. A time where Halo CE, a cutting-edge, risky venture, could blow our minds instead of a decade-long behemoth like Cyberpunk making me want to blow out my mind. When the only way the outside world followed you home was through the TV or the landline. When the Christmas season meant circling things in a catalog and busting ass through department stores, not festive landing pages and server crashes. When late night TV was almost a must-see every night, a glue that bonded us all together, not a fucking pipeline to chubby British men exploring their Zootopia fetish in the middle of the road. When television series in general had genuine long-term impact and their arcs really meant something and made you feel something, and you spent all week discussing, theorizing, and bonding with fellow fans and friends, instead of just binging and purging within a night. When movie theaters weren't the best place to go to pay to be alone for a couple of hours. When people like Bob Ross Bill Nye and the Tiki Head from Legends of the Hidden Temple spent the morning with our youth, instead of fucking Chocolate Melon and Johnny from Bangladesh. If I wanted you to leave this video with anything, I think I would boil it down into these two statements. Firstly, billionaires and the exceedingly wealthy are your masters and your enemy, not your roadmap. You will never be them. The internet, for the most part, aims to corrupt you, not educate you. Complex deep learning algorithms' sole purpose is to separate you from your money and remove your choice, not improve your selection. And the commodification and simplification of everything in our lives is meant to keep us docile, isolated, satiated, and consuming, while our bargaining power, equity, rights, freedoms, lands, governments are all being auctioned off to the highest bidder. And I know that was a long first point, but secondly, I am so fucking thankful for the opportunities the internet has given me, for the wonderful content it's provided me, and most of all, for the friends that I've made on it along the way. Because isn't that all that really matters? They're essentially all I have, and I love them and appreciate them more than anything, and I wouldn't trade them for everything I'm asking for in this video if it were possible to snap my fingers and change it. Because people are the best part of life, the only part worth giving a damn about, and the only thing you can leave a real impact on before you leave this place. I guess I just wish we could get a real grasp on how the internet and algorithms and late-stage capitalism are affecting us, and maybe walk ourselves back from the edge that we've been teetering over for years, so that maybe my kids could enjoy that slower, more intimate experience with life that I never got to. So, stop listening to dipshits like me, go outside, make more friends, take more chances, delete fucking social media off your phone, and hold your people close, because that's the only thing that matters. Thanks for listening to the fat old bitch on the stoop ramble about the way that things should have been. The last few months working on this video have been pure catharsis, and I'm eternally grateful to the confidence and self-love that you guys give me that helped me realize this project that I've wanted to make for a long time. And if anything, that is more than enough for me. So thank you, love you, check out the Beef Boys, and I'll see you soon. Farewell.